Hey, I'm gonna start a. Last time I tried to talk about the animals on the farm, I got sidetracked on something else. But I'll try to talk about the animals that we had out on the farm there. It I know we had horses and mules. I got a lot to say about that, but I'll go ahead and try to finish this out. We had all kinds of chickens, Dominickers and white leghorns, and we had some reds, and we had some banties, and I don't remember the names of all them doggone banties, but we also had. I didn't realize till I got older and saw some African films that guineas. We had some guineas, and they're kind of a black speckledy chicken-like creature. I thought they were native. I didn't know they were African chickens. I guess they call them chickens. I don't know. They're from Africa anyway. I see them on the African films a lot, and they're different than a regular chicken. I remember them darn guineas when they go to roost. All the chickens would go in the hen house and roost, but them guineas would fly up in the trees. And not only that, but when they wouldn't lay their eggs in a hen house. They lay them. I run on the one time. It was by a fence post underneath a fence, and it was a bunch of weeds around it. And I looked over in there. God, there must have been 25 or 30 eggs in that in that nest. I never seen anything like that in my life. And first thing you know, here come that mother guinea hen with, she must have had about 15 or 20 chicks behind her. I never seen anything like that in my life. Them guineas are something else. But anyway, getting to be the animals on the farm and everything, we had about every kind of. We had turkeys and geese and ducks and. God, I don't know. You name it, we didn't have no jackasses or any donkeys or anything like it. We didn't have no goats or any sheep, but we just about had everything else. I don't know that I can even name all of them. You know, we had all different kinds of ducks. We had mallards and big white ducks and God, I'm trying to think of all the different animals we did have on the. Good Lord of mercy. Unbelievable. But I got one story that I want to tell you that I don't know how to tell this. It's about as funny a thing as you're ever going to hear, but I'm not sure I can tell it the right way. Let me say that when I got old enough, I don't know if you folks know what a middle buster plow is. One of these plows that just you have. It's a one-man plow. It's got two handles on it, and it's a middle buster. We call them middle busters, and they dig up the middle of the row to get rid of the weeds that grow in. If you're going to get the weeds out of your garden patch, you got to. I don't say gotta, but the way we did it, we'd middle bust it and dig off. We'd cut up all the weeds using that middle buster to dig up them weeds in the middle of the row, and then we'd come back with a hoe and get the top of the row. But anyway, getting back to my dad was gonna. I'd just gotten big enough where I don't remember how old I was, but I remember this plow handle, this middle buster. This was one of them. This one of them kind of had two handles on it where you hold on to the handles. Well, they were up about shoulder high. I had to hold my hands up in order to hold that thing. I couldn't have been over about 12, 13 years old. Anyway, my dad had this old mule hooked up to that middle buster. I don't know what the rest of the farmers did in this world, but we always used mules to have plows like that in the garden. The reason we did the mules, if they hit a stump, they just stopped. They didn't want to plow, and they didn't want to pull the plow anyway. You had to pop them on the butt to even get them to move, you know. But horses are spirited. You know, if you put a horse on them plows and they hit a stump, God, they go crazy. They turn around, they jump the trace chains, they turn around backwards, you know. They just go nuts, you know. So we never used horses. I don't know what other farmers did, you know, because we never had no contact with other farmers, but we didn't use them. We used horses only to pull wagons. We didn't use them to do full farm equipment. But anyway, this old mule, my dad hooked me up to this whole thing. It was, we had this garden, and I don't remember whether it was okra or what it was. We was plowing, getting the weeds out of it. And I can't remember, but I do remember that plow, because you're going to get a kick out of this one. Oh, Lordy. Like I say, my dad put me behind this old plow, and see, he put the horse collar and everything on the mule, and put the trace chains and everything, hooked it up to a single tree, and then put the clevis into the single tree and hooked it onto the plow with a pin. It's just a half-inch pin that went down through that clevis, and it hooked onto the plow. And my dad, started me off. I had never plowed before in my life, any kind of a plow, They had double shovels, and they had, I can tell you about those later. They did about the same thing as this middle buster, but this happened to be a middle buster. I think if you got a double shovel, I think takes a stronger hand, and probably I wouldn't have been able to handle something like that. But I could. This middle buster, just one big old plow. It just cuts all the weeds in the bottom of the furrow. Just cuts them all. That is to keep it from plowing up the vegetables or whatever it is you're trying to get the weeds out of. But anyway, I started off, and he got the mule and everything all hooked up for me with all the gear that you put on them, the trace chains and the single tree to hook onto the plow, and the horse collar and all them gadgets that they go up there, and he put the bridle on him and get the reins, and he told me to put the rein up over my left shoulder and underneath my right arm. And I said, okay, that's the way I do it. And anyway, we got started. And I sure enough, I was able to do it, believe it or not. I was just a little kid. I was having to hold my elbows way up in the air, but I made it through without plowing any of the vegetables up. And I got to the other end. Now when I got to the end, that's kind of a problem, because I had to put the mule had to go out pretty far in front of 4, 5, 6 feet in front of the end of the row to where I could turn him around, because I had to get the plow out of the furrow, and I had to lay the plow down, because I didn't want to be plowing at the end of the row, so I had to lay it on the side. And it took me a while before I got the mule turned around and got in the next row, and then I got him up to where I finally got the plow into the row. And anyway, my dad stayed with me, I don't know, 3 or 4 rows, and I finally got to where I got the hang of it, and I was able to do it. And God Almighty, it's the first time I ever did a man's job, I was so proud of myself. I don't remember how old I was, but I just barely was old enough to hold up that plow. I remember that. But that was probably one of the greatest days in my young life. God Almighty, doing a grown man's work out there. I mean, I'd seen the grown men doing that kind of stuff, but I didn't ever think that I would do it as early as I did. But anyway, I did 4 or 5 rows there. My dad stayed with me. He walked right behind me and everything. And finally, about the 4th or 5th row, I got back to where the starting place was, where we started. And my dad said, okay, I'm going to leave it with you. So I plowed a few, and of course from where I was at, I could look up at the dairy barn. This was our. We had about 5 or 6 acres there where we kept a garden. I say we. I keep talking we like it. I didn't have no part. It was my dad's. It was my dad's farm and everything. But I call it we. You probably had to get used to that. Really, I had nothing to do with it. It was my dad's. But anyway, I looked up at the dairy barn, which was up kind of on the hill there, and I saw his car, his old Dodge car, going out the front of the gate and was leaving. And this rein that he had the reins that went up to the mule that I was guiding him with and everything, I had it up. One rein was over my left shoulder, and it went down behind my back and underneath my right arm. And it was kind of wearing the thing that was pulling over to my neck and kind of wearing on my neck a little bit. And so I took the rein out from under, I mean, I took it off my shoulder because it was wrecking my shut, and I put it down underneath. So I had the reins underneath both arms, and my dad had told me to be sure to keep that rein on my left shoulder and underneath my right arm. But I thought, well, shoot, that's hurting. That thing's rubbing my neck. I'm gonna put them both under my arms. So anyway, I made 3 or 4 or 5 more rounds there, and God darn, man, all of a sudden I was going down one of these roads, and that pin came out of the crevice, and oh, Lord have mercy. The mule, the plow, I don't know if it's going to be hard for you to understand what happened here unless you've ever seen a 1-horse plow, But it's got a big stock on it that sets out about 5 or 6 feet that you put the single tree in the trace change from the mule and put a clevis and a pin in it, and it pulls the plow. Well, the pin came out of that clevis, and that plow stock, about 6 foot, it hit the ground, but that old mule didn't stop, and them reins was underneath both my arms, and they pulled me up against that plow, and I went up in the air about 6, 7 feet in the air. oh, that blasted plow. Me hollering, boy, I was trying to get a low voice, and say, whoa, whoa, still all I could say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was just a little kid. I was hollering, screaming, whoa, whoa. He's dragging me down that blasted road, and I had them darn reins underneath both arms, and I was wiggling every which way you could think of, trying to get them darn reins up underneath my arms. But I finally managed, and I got up and chased the mule down, got a hold of it, finally got him stopped. God, it took me forever to get that blasted horse, that blasted mule hooked back up to that plow. God almighty. Oh, Lord. God, my dad had hooked all that stuff up for me. I wasn't even sure how the hell it went together, But I finally got all the trace chains put back, onto the single tree and got the, I got the mule backed up to the plow. Of course, in all the commotion of me moving that mule around over on them plants, I forget what they were, but they were up about 2 foot high, and I stepped on a bunch of them. The mule stepped on a bunch of them. That blasted every trace change and drug some of them down. And when I finally got that blasted mule hooked up to that plow, I had to take, boy, I took all them plants and things, put dirt up under them, and made them stand up straight, because I wasn't about to let my dad come back out there and see a bunch of them plants laying over on their side, But I tell you, I learned one thing. Ever again, if I ever plowed a mule, I never put the reins under both arms. It was always under my left arm and over my right shoulder. So if something happened like what happened with that pin coming out there, and the mule went forward, I could just duck my head and lift my left arm up, and the reins would have went over. But instead, I learned one thing about all that. If my dad said to do something a certain way, I'd do it. See, you folks, a lot of you city folks make fun of these farmers, and I'm going to tell you, you wouldn't last one day on a farm. You think you're so smart. You say here we go. I got to stop this thing, but most of you folks make. You talk about farmers as being the one to tell them, hell, they were a lot smarter. You couldn't make a living if you had to go out to a farm. You'd starve to death. My dad didn't bother to teach me because he knew I had a job in the city. He knew I was going to be a city boy, so he didn't bother to tell me how to do all these things. I wouldn't last a week in a farm. You wouldn't. Most of you city people wouldn't last one day. I'm gonna put a stop to it.